What is really clear to me in these events is that my spirit is becoming more and more alive and awakened from sleep. This sleep is dominating many who are alive. With me, the real fight between the flesh and the spirit has already begun, and both are fighting for the same soul. This is because of baptism in water. When we descend into the waters through baptism, we bury the old man, that is, the old nature, which is the flesh connected to the soul living the carnal life. Before, the spirit was asleep, but now it is awakened from the deep sleep it was in before the new birth. I remember that when I began to travel in the spiritual dimension, I only felt that I was traveling because of the speed, and my eyes would get heavy and open slightly. I would see the streets and places for a brief moment, but then my eyes would close and everything would disappear. After some time, I began to open my eyes for longer, and I could see everything clearly as I traveled through the streets and passed by houses, places that were completely real and similar to our plane. When I woke up from a deep sleep, both in my physical body and in my spiritual body, during my travels, I began to see everything clearly and began to participate in the reality of demons, because they exist in the spiritual world. When I began to talk to them through my thoughts, they discovered me, and then I began to be pursued by them, who became more vigilant regarding my presence. They only perceive me because of my mind when I communicate through my thoughts, and they say that it is because of my breathing that can be heard when I am sleeping, and that is why they find me. Before being pursued by demons, I could see several spirits living and walking the streets of the spiritual world. I passed through different places, and I realized that each place was different because of the clothes the spirits were wearing. As for this experience, I cannot say whether they were spirits of living people, who were also manifesting themselves in the spiritual plane, just like me, or whether they were demons manifesting themselves in the regional costumes of each country. But it became clear that I was going in spirit and in truth to other places in the world several times. The thing is that I saw them with different faces and clothes, and it could be that the Holy Spirit transported me in spirit and in truth with another body to meet people and help them, but using my spirit and my soul as the essence, because the understanding is always mine, and it is I myself who understands everything I see and hear. Whenever there was any problem that I needed to run away from, or I needed to leave quickly, I always returned to my body and was frightened and breathing heavily and panting. I saw people from regions that seemed to be in Morocco, others in regions that seemed to be in Africa, and I did everything and lived everything consciously and understanding everything that was happening. Whenever any problem occurred there in the spiritual dimension, among the spirits that I lived with, I returned by the power of the Holy Spirit and always to the house of Saint Caetano, protecting me and surrounding me. I saw myself helping people from Africa, and I remembered that there were bags of something that seemed to be grains of food, and I helped to put them in a person's house. The interesting thing is that when I return, whether by running away or leaving the place naturally, I find myself standing up and scared, wanting to understand what I am experiencing. When I return, I am standing up, with my spiritual eyes open and seeing the house of Saint Caetano surrounding me again. I realize that my spiritual eyes remain open, and only after a few seconds do they close and I can see the physical world again. It may be that I was transported by the Lord, but I cannot say for sure because I have no way of proving it. But the experiences were vivid, impactful and revealing to me, and if they were visions, then I had clear revelations about people and places so that I could pray for them. I understand that my spirit is growing stronger and is becoming more active and involved in my soul, causing a dispute with the flesh for life. After all, I was born again when I was baptized, and that was when I was much younger. I remember that one night in this house in the Itinga neighborhood, I was transported to a region of some country in Africa, and I saw the people as normal, and when I arrived, I would talk to them about anything. The interesting thing is that as soon as I arrived, my understanding and spirit already knew how to interact with the other spirits present in the place. I can communicate with the other spirits, being able to speak and participate in a conversation with some of those in that place in a short time. I remember helping other spirits with food, and the interesting thing is that I am not exactly sleeping, because my understanding and mind do not stop working, and sometimes I get a little tired during the day. because I feel sleepy and need to rest my mind. I realize that I am always active, and even when my physical body is sleeping, I am in different places helping and participating in the lives of other spirits. The issue of the house of Saint Kitano always comes up. I am talking about the house where I was born. I believe that it is a temporary home while I am alive in the flesh and participating in earthly life. I believe that it is my protection against invading spirits, and it always projects itself towards me, and I am protected within it. It has happened that I was living a situation in another dimension with other people, and suddenly I come back and I am already standing and hiding. I hide when it is a dangerous situation or one that represents a problem for me. Then I see this projected house of Saint Kitano surrounding me and hiding me. I stand in my physical house with my spiritual eyes completely open in the spiritual plane and still see the house where I was born protecting me. After everything returns to normal and my physical eyes open, I pray and prepare to sleep and rest my mind. To help you understand better, I will explain. I was born in a neighborhood called Snow Kitano, located in the city of Salvador, and my father built a large house there. When I was born, the house was still under construction and had sand and other materials from the construction. If I'm not mistaken, the house was still under construction because I remember playing in the sand. That was the house where I was practically born and spent my entire childhood. So I believe that the Spirit of God uses the image and projection of the house of Snow Kitano to protect me and place me in the spiritual plane. The house, in addition to being a protection, it's also important for me to leave my body and project myself into the spiritual plane. While I was in the house of Atinga in Loro de Freitas, the house that I said my sister had given me, I lay down and soon left my body and found myself in a completely different place. But the interesting thing was that I walked along a path that was already in front of me, because I can never see myself leaving my physical body, and I also don't see myself returning to it. The Spirit of God simply transports me and leaves me there in the spiritual plane, as well as the same thing happens when I return to my body. I do not come through the dimension of the spirit and enter the physical dimension looking at the body. I am already projected directly to my physical body, and I just open my eyes and get up.